So today I'm going to be filming part 3 of the Reddit story that we started reading of I think the hospital I work for is experimenting on patients. So I hope you guys enjoy. Sorry if you hear talking in the background, my roommate's on the phone, so you might hear some of that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this and let's get started. I called the police and reported the picture I had received. I didn't really know what my plan was, but I knew that this had spiraled out of my control and I needed some serious help. I told them everything. Being that it's a small town, pretty much everyone knows everyone else. And it just so happens that the chief of police is married to the house supervisor of the hospital. Chief Baker took my call and eventually my in-person report. When I got there, they checked my bags and asked that I, for the time being, left all my stuff with the unit clerk. I complied. I sat in an interrogation room with cheap coffee and wrote down my statement, crying and shaking as I wrote. Eventually, Chief Baker came in, and I must have started talking so much and so fast that I overwhelmed him. "Slow down, ma'am. Let's just take it slow." He put his hand up as if to yield me. "My friend is dead. Do you understand? Dead. She's in the hospital." "She died in the hospital?" he asked, but I could tell he thought I meant that she was a patient. "No, well, yes, but she wasn't a patient." I could see that he thought I was losing it. "You don't understand. We went up to the 3rd floor because something is going on up there. And then she got burned and I couldn't find her, and someone sent a picture of her to me and she's dead just like the others." "The others? Ma'am, have you taken any illegal substances tonight?" "What?" I shrieked in frustration. "I don't take illegal substances. I work at a freaking hospital where I'm tested regularly. Do I fit the mold of someone who takes illegal substances? You aren't hearing me." "Okay, listen. You need to calm down before I put you in a holding cell." "You can't do that. I haven't done anything wrong. You won't listen to me." And then I remembered my phone. I was so distraught that it had taken me an embarrassingly long amount of time to realize I could just show him the picture. "My phone," I said as I stood up and slid my chair back. I ran to the clerk and asked if I could please grab my phone out of my bag. I dug to the bottom and got it. I ran back to the room. "This will prove everything. I have the picture of her. She was murdered tonight. Someone sent me the..." I froze. Our texts had been deleted. All of them. She wasn't in my recent messages at all. "What the heck is going on here?" I yelled. "Ma'am, I think you need help. Can I call someone? A friend? A family member?" I sat down defeated. I didn't understand. Was I really losing my mind? I scrolled through my contacts to find Sheena's number. It was gone. In a final attempt to prove my sanity, I asked if he could just do a small favor for me. "Can you call Christy? Can you please just call her and ask her if she saw Sheena leave?" He sat there for a minute and just stared at me. I could tell he didn't believe me, almost like he was going to entertain this solely to calm me down and get me to leave. "Sure." He pulled out his phone. "Hey, sweetie, I have one of your employees here, Cassie Ferris." "Yeah, she has an interesting story about some murders taking place in the hospital there, and honestly, I'm worried about her. But she wants me to ask you if you've seen Sheena tonight, during shift change, or if you know about her still being there." He covered the phone with his hand and whispered to me, "What's her last name?" "Morris." "It was her married name." "Yeah, Morris." There was a long pause. Then he looked at me with concern. "Hang tight, Miss Ferris. I'll be right back." He got up and walked out of the room. A few long and dreadful minutes later, he came back with 2 other officers, and I stood up and began to cry. "She's dead, isn't she? She's really dead. They found her." "Ma'am, take a seat." "No, just tell me what happened." "Do they know? Did they catch the person? This is all my fault." I fell to my knees. I knew I was the reason she was dead. I didn't need anyone to tell me that. You don't think I feel bad enough without anyone else chiming in with their opinions? Yeah, I probably should have tried harder to find her. I was scared. When she pushed me, it wasn't her. The way her eyes were, her strength, that wasn't her. I was terrified. You don't think I wanted to help her? Of course I did. I waited, I called, I did all I knew how to do in that moment, and it wasn't enough. I don't think anyone telling me it was my fault because, damn it, I freaking know that. My chain of thought was broken when the officers put their hands under my arms, helped me to my feet, and sat me down. Miss Ferris, I think you need to be checked out, Chief Baker said. His voice now changed from frustration to concern. I'm fine. I wasn't injured. They only hurt Sheena. We're going to take you to the hospital for observation tonight, okay? Y'all, I bet you he's in on the testing. Like he's gonna take her up to the 3rd floor. He slid his hand across the table and placed it on mine. Hell no, I'm not going there for observation. You can't treat me like a 6404. I'm a nurse, not a patient. I'll go to see her body, but I won't be put in observation. I'm not crazy. Cassie, look at me. He tightened his grip on my hand and his face got very serious. There isn't and never has been an employee there by the name of Sheena Morris. I yanked my hand out of his. He was wrong. He had to be wrong. Okay, so that was a pretty quick part, so I'm going to also read part 4 in this. So let's just continue. I knew that I was in too deep now. I stood up, calmed myself down, and told them I had made a mistake. I was absolutely terrified of the situation, of what they could do to me, of what they would do to me. I knew I had to pull it together because now they were watching my every move. I'm sorry, I haven't been sleeping much lately. I made a mistake. It took everything in me not to panic. I headed to the door and I could feel their eyes on my back, and I feared that one of them would grab me and throw me back into the room, but nothing happened. I got to the front door to leave and Chief Baker spoke. Miss Ferris, you sure you'll be okay tonight? I still think you should go for observation. No, I'm fine, I said as I wiped tears from my eyes with the back of my sleeve, still facing the door. Sorry for wasting your time. Once I got into the car, I raced home. I ran in and packed a bag. I grabbed my clothes, my laptop, the files, and my dog. I drove for hours, not really having a destination, but knowing I had to get far away from there. I knew they were coming for me. Finally, I arrived to a big city and pulled into another Holiday Inn. I paid for a room in cash and slid the young receptionist $20 to keep my room listed under another name. After I had settled in and took my dog for a walk, I pulled out my laptop and began to do research. First, I typed in the name of the hospital. After seeing some BS about their credo and when the hospital was built, I realized I had to be more specific. So I typed, lawsuit in 1970s against UMC. In January 1971, a suit was filed against UMC for alleged cover-ups involving patient safety. The suit was brought forth by attorney Angela Deems. When one of their clients reported a suspicious death, it was unclear who the client was, but many people came forth after reporting similar incidents. UMC was temporarily closed from 1971 to 1974, pending investigation. Eventually, all claims were dropped and UMC resumed business in '74. There was a picture of Angela Deems in the article. My next thought was that I needed to find her. I cleared the search bar and typed in her name, followed by the lawsuit. I had a feeling that she'd be dead by now, but maybe I could find someone who knew something. I found a few articles about a missing persons report. Angela Deems was missing? The report was from 1971, and it read, Angela Shannon Deems, 32, of Nashville, Tennessee, hasn't been seen in 10 days. She was last seen leaving Deems and Associates at 5:10 p.m. on Thursday, March 4th. Deems was wearing a blue dress with a black jacket. Her hair is shoulder length and black. She's approximately 5'5" and 125 pounds. She has blue eyes. If you have seen Angela Shannon Deems or suspect that you know where she might be, please contact the local police department. I clicked back and looked at a few more postings to see what had happened. I learned that to this day, no one has ever seen nor heard from her. I couldn't believe what I was reading, and there was no way someone was going to convince me that this was a coincidence. The lawyer that tried to shut down UMC and expose what was happening there had coincidentally disappeared before the trials were set to begin. And if she was missing, what fate had the families of the victims succumbed to? I typed Deems and Associates into the search bar and pulled up their website. It was, to my surprise, still an operating business. I looked through the list of lawyers and associates to see if anyone had the same last name, hoping that even if they never knew her, that maybe the family had theories that had been passed down. Courtney Deems. I stopped scrolling and wrote down her email info. I popped up my email account and typed her an address. Ms. Courtney Deems. My name is Cassie and I work at UMC. I was wondering if you were related to Angela Deems. I believe I have recently come across some things that Angela was trying to bring to light. I also believe I may be in trouble. Please respond. Cassie. I closed the laptop and sat in silence for a while. I had no idea what was going on or what I was going to do. I opened up the file on Patrick Witt, 18 o'clock. Upon arriving at the cell, we noticed blood flowing from under the door. When the cell was opened, we observed Subject Witt standing over Subject Hardy. Subject Hardy was unresponsive. Subject Witt was missing fingernails on the right hand and bleeding from deep wounds around them. It was observed that Subject Witt had ripped off the metal siding on the bottom of the door and created a shank of a sort. It is unclear how the subject was unable to do this. Subject Witt began to walk towards the staff, but right before we were able to restrain him, Subject Witt ran the metal shank across his neck. 1845. Subject Witt has been pronounced dead. I scrolled through his file and found a copy of the death certificate, with the cause of death being unexpected heart failure. Were they seriously writing up fake death certificates on these poor people? I flipped to the next page in his file. It took me a minute to figure it out, but after studying it for a while, I realized it was a chart. On each line, there was a row of boxes similar to Microsoft Excel. Reading from left to right, the initials were in the first box. The patient's last name was in the second, the date in the third, and finally, an amount of money listed. They were bets. Some pages were bets on who would live, and some were bets on who would die, wagering money on people's lives. It was like chicken fighting, but with people. I felt so sick. I took an oath to take care of people and help them. It's why I got into this career, and here I was reading about people in the same business as me, hell, the same company even, doing this to people who needed them. As sick as I felt, I knew there were many other files I had to scan through. I started to open Shelley's file back up, and I heard a ding. I looked at my phone, and it was an email notification. I slid the bar across the phone and opened it up into an email from Courtney. Hello, Cassie. They are looking for you. When they find you, you will also disappear. They know you know. You need to get far away and fast. I'm so sorry this is happening to you, but I cannot get involved. Save yourself. Run. I sat there, somewhat stunned. How did she know this? Had she been contacted by someone about me? Nothing about this entire day made sense. I stood up and rushed to the minibar that was conveniently in my room. I grabbed an airplane bottle of Jack and chugged half of it. The sting made me have to break halfway through. I lifted it back to my lips, and just as I was about to take the second half down, there was a knock on my door. And that is where the story ends for now. Hopefully the reader will update it soon. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know who you guys think was at the door in the comments below, and please give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!